So one of the big parts of the agenda and the goals for these meetings was to secure investment from VCs towards ENV. So we talked about EOS Network Ventures on the fireside before. So we solidified that and solidified how that would come about, the actual framework, not just legal framework, but just the design architecture of how this would be, and some formal commitments from some people, as well as one of the big things was to get closer to securing that lead investor. And we are one step closer to securing that lead investor that we've been trying to get for a period of time. And so really a big part of this was to secure known VCs that would be part of the investors, because then that attracts then more external capital afterwards. And then you get the public sales. Within those, that's when you get benefits to EOS token holders, for example, that we've been mentioning, but that's not public yet in terms of what that will represent. But for seed and private rounds, getting the brand name investors, the brand name VCs, a part of that to help offer that support, because it's more than the financial support. It's also everything else that comes alongside that. It's what else can they do? For example, if you had Binance Labs as a lead investor, does that perhaps also open doors for token listings or for anything else? What else can that investor do to help benefit that ecosystem that's outside of just the funding? That was a huge part of what this trip was about.
That's always been the goal since it was mentioned, the reasons why EVM will have the EVM token ticker. Part of it is governance. So you have these node operators who are much different than EOS node operators, so governing their own chain. EVM is a chain within a chain, if you think of it like that. But another reason is for bringing external capital into the EOS ecosystem. And that's very much what's going to happen. And going back to what I was saying earlier, like when I was talking about my excitement, how the strategic bet on doing an EVM, it was just validation that it made sense. The amount of capital that's gone into that, like I said, it's less than's gone into wallets, it's less than's gone into APIs, it's less than what went into the blue papers, less than HyphaDAO. We have all these other grants and investments that are much higher, but there's no real expectation on ROI for the network itself. Whereas with EVM, like for less than $1 million, there's going to be this return on investment of many millions of dollars coming back into the ecosystem externally. So not just capital from EOS token holders swapping their EOS for EVM, but from these large known funds bringing their capital in. They're bringing that capital in from stable coins. They're bringing that capital in from BNB or ETH or wherever their capital is parked. That's coming into the EOS ecosystem. It's external capital. And that's always been the goal. And I think all of that's being validated. It was being validated before these in-person events, and it definitely got validated even further after all of the face-to-face and conversations that happened in Asia over the last couple of weeks. And on top of that, it'll be a completely separate entity from the ENF. It'll have its own leadership, its own spokespeople, its own marketing, its own projects, and it'll very much be aligned with EOS, 100% aligned with EOS.